Gentlemen, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Trickett and Frank Warren present the main event of the evening, a 12-round international super featherweight contest at 9 stone 4 pound for the IBF Super Featherweight Championship of the world. Between and introducing to you, defending his title, the IBF Super Featherweight Champion of the World from Australia, Barry Michael. And in this corner, the challenger from Manchester, the Super Featherweight Champion of Great Britain, Najib Daho. Scaled 9 stone 2.5 pounds. Dale scaled 9 stone 4 pounds. The officials for this contest appointed by the IBA, your supervisor Robert Wheatsall, Judge Paul Wheatsall of Portland, Oregon, Al DeVito of New Jersey, and Joseph Pasquale of New Jersey. Your referee Rudy Battle of Philadelphia, your timekeeper Alan Smith of Sheffield, and your commissioner, the president of the IBF, Robert Lee.
So there you are, we've sorted that out, and the old veteran Nat Basso does have a bit of trouble telling night from day. He still thinks it's the evening, and it is, of course, the International Boxing Federation, the first time that that particular body has had a championship fight recognised or taking place in this country, because the Boxing Board of Control have not officially joined that group yet. So if styles count, these two should have a humdinger. It'll be head-to-head stuff, I promise you that. They fought in Wales, and between them they only got 520 pounds, and I can tell you, this is the biggest purse this afternoon they've ever earned. It's a big one. And Daho won that fight on points. Starts the first round. I mean, having had that incredible success with Pat Cowdell, there's no doubt that Daho is going to try and get off early. But 12 rounds course. It has been cut to 12 rounds, which is now the standard in this country. The IBF agreed to do that. They normally have 15. Now, he's never been on the deck, Barry Michael. That's a tremendous record, but the way he's taking punches here, it could happen. Very popular fighter in Manchester, Daho. He's called, nicknamed the Casper Kid. For a while, the new manager, Jack Trickett, who sort of transformed him, as it were, so they should have called him the Disco Kid when he started boxing, because he didn't really train that well. Well, as I said, certainly knows he's got the crowd on his side, and he's taken advantage of any encouragement going his way in the opening round, Daho. Amazing how Barry Michael, who has actually fought right up to welterweights over the 10 stone mark, and he's now down to 9 stone 2.5, almost at featherweight, which is 9 stone. Well, they're not larking about in the opening round, I tell you that, in the coming up the last minute of this round, Jim.
Now, this is a good start from Daho too. I think the main thing he has to do, try keep Michael on his back foot and keep his own elbows nice and tight to his ribcage, because Michael his plan seems to be to spend the first couple of rounds banging about the body. All the powerful punches Michael has thrown so far have been towards the ribcage, but a very good start from Daho.
Philadelphian referee here, Rudy Battle. So it's a real good start. There's no doubt about it. As Jim Watt said, it's a good start by Daho. But he is, Barry Michael, from what we've seen of him, he takes his time getting off. There you are. There's the statistics. As I said, he hasn't been on the deck and still managing to keep those gold teeth intact. A great talker. He talks about being a great motivator, Barry Michael, and goes around and does a bit of public speaking. Knows the statistics of the fight game. He knows the background. Najib Daho, most of those losses actually came early on in his career. He was bowled over by Ken Buchanan, former lightweight champion of the world, but well, that can happen to anybody with a fighter of that quality. So Ernie Fossey from London, they've got in the corner. They've Kenny Daniels, his normal trainer, Jack Trickett on the outside there, adding his little percentage worth of advice.
Seconds out. Round 2.
Into the second round, and almost before the bell had gone away there, they were at it. I told you that that's the way these guys have to fight. There's no hit and run among these two. It's got to be a stand and trade fight, whatever happens. In world terms, we've never kidded anybody that they're great names, but it had to be a really hard fight because both of them are very experienced. You don't often get that. Sometimes get championship fights before they paid their dues, but these fellas have done it. Yes, he's a good body puncher, Barry Michael. He likes to bring the hands down and wear the opponents down a bit, the old wars of attrition. Well, there's going to be some bumps and bruises of battle, I think, soon, Jim, don't you?
Yeah, it's going to be a hard afternoon's work for both of them. Michael's physically very strong. You can see inside the leverage he gets into the punches, even when he's off balance. His good arm strength. He's a very strong little man. When you're boxing someone who's not known as a smart performer, the best thing you can do is keep him on his back foot. Don't let him get set. And Daho will have to do that with Michael. He can't allow Michael to dictate things today.
Well, it seems as though Daho's corner have been telling him to work on that straight left because Michael doesn't defend himself that well and eats a few of those on the way in. But no, he slipped those, didn't he? That shows the old experience coming in. So a little bit of bloodied nose there on Daho. As I said to Jim Watt there, it's obviously going to be a few scars showing in a minute because with this rough type of contest, it's inevitable. So half a minute to go then in the second. One thing about Barry Michael, he's been around so much that he doesn't worry about home advantage. He really is the old corny line about have gum shield will travel, this fellow. And they deserve applause, don't they? One of the local matters ex-managers here, Tommy Doherty, among the crowd, there's Daho. Enjoying this fight, Jim. It's hard enough. It's got that little bit of world-class feel about it, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's got the excitement of a world title fight. Yeah, I think Michael will be a little bit happier with that round than he was with his first round. He didn't have an awful lot of success, but he did get a chance to remind Daho how strong he was and how determined he was. But I think this is the type of fight we can expect. It's going to be close range all the way through and tough all the way through.
So that's Barry Michael's dad giving the advice there in the corner. Then Swettenham. Well, that's his first two names, obviously, Barry Michael Swettenham. But if he wants to make the tabloid headlines, he kept the name short.
Seconds out. Round 3.
Round 3. So Daho really knows now he's got to settle down a little bit. He can't always walk out and knock the opposition over in the first round. But it's good to see him in such tremendous condition. He actually came in a little bit overweight at the weigh-in at 11 o'clock last night, which the IBF wanted some 12 hours at least before this took place. But he hadn't realised that, and he'd eaten a light meal. But they got it off in no time, and he made, as Robert Lee, the president of the IBF, said, right on the money. He came in at 9 stone 4. Going to be a very active referee. We don't see too many American referees working fights in this country, but they're always very mobile, which impresses me. Third defence this by Barry Michael.
Daho was a little bit dangerous with the head there. That looked a little bit intentional, I've got to say.
So he's caught Barry Michael's head there, and he's sort of just dabbing there, wondering if there's any blood coming from his eyebrow, but it isn't. Now Michael's walking in, taking the play away from Daho now. He's trying to out-strengthen.
Daho doesn't have the same attitude he showed in the first round. He's backing off, he's allowing Michael to come forward, and I don't think he has much chance of winning this title if he allows Michael to come forward. Michael is a better all-round fighter than Daho. Daho can't afford to let him come forward.
He's really what we used to call an old cobbles campaigner, isn't he, Barry Michael? This, you know, you'd fancy him in any town in the world to give you a good fight.
That's right. He's rough as they come, and he's getting more leverage into his punches because he's coming forward. Daho will have to try to push him back. I'm wondering maybe if a couple of the body punches have hurt Daho, and maybe he's having the second thoughts about how to go about the job. But he's lost his first round attitude.
So the countdown then for the end of the round. And it looks like being a hard slug. Bruised up around the left eye too, Daho, it seems. The crowd liked that punch. I'm not sure whether Michael did. And a big laugh at the end of the round there by Michael. As I said, he enjoys the fight game. There aren't too many guys that do that. It's always difficult to explain that to would-be boxing abolitionists. Some of these fellas make money. They wouldn't be able to make it in other forms, and they enjoy it, and nobody forces them to do it. There you are. There's Frank Warrenelli, the London promoter. In fact, he's promoting all over the country now, as partly managing Barry Michael with... I think he has to get the okay from his missus just the same. And that means Michael's missus, not his.
They start letting you... And you've got to hit him hard with a jab when it goes out. So hit him hard with it, bomb, bomb, and a left. And when he's standing there, he's waiting for a left hook. Let it go. Right. And it comes up.
Second down. Round 4.
So into the fourth. And we're wondering now whether the early start by Daho, whether he can keep that up, or whether he's really met his match in standing strength to strength, punch to punch. He's a demoralising man to fight, this adopted Australian, or in fact he's an Australian citizen now, of course, despite being born in dear old Watford. Actually, it was Carpenter's Park, just nearby. Just watching the head there, says referee Battle, to Barry Michael, well, that's the way you fight. It's all in, run or not, as they say in gambling terms.
See, Daho's beginning to show complaint to the referee, throwing silly punches that he knows have no chance of landing, out of range punches. There's something wrong with Daho's attitude. It's not quite what I expected. He'll have to try to force himself to get into this fight.
Yeah, certainly Michael now is taking the fight in every sense to the challenger. And normally that's the other way around. Incredible durability. I suppose if you catch them right, Jim, nobody's durable, but to go all through his career without an actual count is tremendous. Yeah,
he's very squat. He manages to keep his forehead down. Most of the punches that come his way, he takes them on his forehead. He's not taking too many in the chin this afternoon, but he is very strong, and he's really, he is the boss in this contest at the moment. I think Michael will be quite happy with the way things are going.
Remember, the referee does not score if it goes to 12 rounds, of course, and there are 3 American judges brought in. Portland, Oregon and New Jersey. Oh, a crowd like that. He's in a game with the right hand there, Daho. But I think he just possibly loses a bit of heart, but his best punches don't seem to be taking too much out of Michael. Excites the crowd indeed. Well, I said from the start, Jim, this had to be a hard fight, and it's certainly warmed up to that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the styles that both boys normally use. Well, Daho seems to have got his mind back on the job. That was a little bit better. I like the threatening look at the end of the round. Daho seemed to drop down a gear in his mind, but he seems to have his show back in the road again, and he wants to get back into the fight. But he's going to have to force himself here because it's not going to be an easy fight.
So that's the judge from New Jersey, Mr. DeVito, just alongside me. So there you are. There's nobody should be too distracted by the lady in the rounds board. The fighters have got other things on their mind at the moment. Let's have a look at our overhead camera on the replay there. This is the spot where Daho really did come back well. He tried really hard to stop Michael coming at him, succeeded for a while, but after this flurry, the champion came back.
Set him up, set him up. Seconds out, round 5.
Round 5. As I said, scheduled for 12, and in case you just to understand, in the white trunks, Najib Daho, the Moroccan from Manchester now, of course, and Barry Michael from Australia, with Michael defending his International Boxing Federation version of the the low punch super featherweight title. Now, they won't disqualify a fighter unless it's persistent fouling. So he can give Daho a fair amount of time if he wants to recover. They're wearing the obligatory foul-proof protectors, remember. And with an American referee, he's just gives him severe warnings, and the judges can, in fact, take a point away if so desired. He normally would nominate that to the judges. He may do it at the end of the round. But we don't want to see that happen. Technically, we call it a no-foul rule, but only persistent low punching or any other infringement could lose a fighter like, lose the championship like that. Well, they've forgotten that little bother there, Najib Daho, Jim, and obviously the family jewels are okay again.
Yeah, well, it was a low punch there. Thankfully, Daho didn't make too much of it. He got his breath back and back into it again. Daho, his act has improved a little bit last round and this round. He seems to have got his attitude back together again, thankfully.
So we've got a minute to go in the 5th. 3-minute duration, of course, boxing in championship contests. The moment this match was made, Jim, I thought, well, I want to see that one, whatever happens, because there was no way that it was not going to be a good fight.
Yes, probably... all the makings have been a cracker. Neither of these boys like to take too many back steps. We reckoned beforehand that Michael would be a little bit stronger than Daho, but Daho's holding his own now, thankfully. But I think inside, Michael's still a little bit stronger, still managing to bully Daho a bit.
Yeah, it's all about, really, when we get to the second half of the fight, I think now. Staying power and the usual durability come into play then. Bloodied nose or not, he seemed very pleased with his round there, Daho. And there's referee Rudy Baffle, who collects the 3 judges' scores and then takes them to the supervisor or adjudicator, in this case Mr. Robert Lee, who's also the president of the IBF. There you are, along there. And they check each round, so you can't get any altering of scorecards because they're all handed in after each round. Now then, let's have a second look at this, Jim.
See, Michael is pretty basic in everything he does. He's not clever in the least. I think there was the low punch there, yeah. Well, thankfully, as I said, he didn't make too much of it.
Seconds out. Round 6.
Into the 6th round then of this World Championship at 9 stone 4 pounds. Sometimes called the junior lightweight or the super featherweight. That's obviously between those 2 weights, 9 stone and 9'9". They've introduced this category. Takes a good referee to handle this one. He's sweating profusely there, Mr. Baffle from New Jersey. Just reminding Daho not to use the rabbit blow there behind the neck. It's a good thing when the referee just gives them these little reminders. I think boxers quite like to respond to that, Jim, instead of finger waving and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, he lets them keep working while he's putting his instructions across, which is better than stopping the action all the time.
Now it's getting just a bit untidy. I was not surprised. See now, Jim, I was going to say for a second there, Daho reverted to what he happened in the 3rd and 4th, but he threw a right hand there and came back a bit.
See, Daho will have to push Michael back. That is the one thing he must do. He can't allow Michael to come forward because he's too strong. Now, it's easy for me to sit here and say that, but Daho doesn't seem to be trying to push him back. Maybe if he would go at it and couldn't do it, then okay, try something else. But there's no use letting a man like Michael come forward all the time. He's too strong.
Very dedicated fighter, by the way, Michael. He really is a student of the game, although he's not a particular stylist. He's hardly a peerless Jim Driscoll, he'd be first to admit. Slight success of Daho, and I tell you, the certainly the family and a lot of the crowd are on their feet at the back of the stage one here in Manchester. It really is a bit of a humdinger like this one. It's actually, Jim, the first fight between British-based fighters since yourself and Charlie Nash.
Slipping away from you. Now let it run down.
Barry Michael hopes to stay around in Britain a bit if he wins this one, but no doubt Mr. Daho here has very many other ideas for him. He's the British featherweight champion.
Come on now, listen.
As I said, he managed to win quite comfortably, I'm told, down in Aberravon back in '79 against Michael, but it looks like a different number now.
Come on, you start letting your shots go. Come on, work. Come on. No, you can't.
Seconds out. Round 7.
And it's round 7. And this constant sort of soccer style chanting Daho, Daho, or Daho as they call it here, spurring their man on, but I think Barry Michael's been around the world enough not to worry about that. He's got deaf ears. He's been in Jakarta and Georgetown and Hawaii and of course South Wales, where incidentally he did win a fight there, by the way. 13 years as a pro now. Sometimes 30 is sort of a bit of a great divide for boxers at this weight, Jim, but he's still got a very youthful, not only look, but style about him, Barry Michael,
yeah, well,
isn't he?
I think what he does have is maturity. He's very strong, very mature, and obviously got himself into good condition. He has to be in good condition because he's a pressure fighter. He works all the time. He doesn't think for half a minute and work for the next minute. But I think all of a sudden, obviously, he must have had quite a hard career if he's been boxing his whole career this way. But he's still in amazingly fresh shape, very strong, and as I say, very fit. See, nothing that Daho has done this afternoon has troubled Michael in the least. He's never managed to discourage him or frustrate him in any way. Michael's just quite happy to keep doing what he's doing. But there have been a few signs in Daho's face that he's becoming a bit frustrated.
Yeah, Michael's been very much, in boxing terms, the governor in the 7th.
Yeah, well, whenever any of the boys are looking for somewhere to hide in a clinch, it's usually Daho. Michael's usually the one who's trying to get to work, trying to land the punches and impose himself on his opponent. You'll see Daho trying to get his chin out of trouble, trying to hold Michael. He's doing a good job, he's putting up a good show, but the little bit that counts is in Michael's favour at the moment.
Yes, he's warning him for holding there. Doesn't have to stop the contest to tell Daho that. He knows all right, but he let go again, and so the referee let them carry on inside like this. A little gesture there at the end of the round from Daho to Michael, as if just with his glove, it's just to say, don't worry, I'm still here. And so is this man. As I say, really is an entertaining character. Probably deserves a bit more credit than he's been given, certainly in this country. And what his ambition actually for him now is he'd like to lure McGuigan now into coming up into his division and make a big money match.
Här. En donkey.
Back on. Gone.
Just asking to polish up the gum shield there, Daho.
Yeah, come on. A good man.
Second down. Round 8.
And the 8th round. Have you got it at this stage, Jim?
Well, I've got to have Michael slightly in front. It's difficult because it's not a clean boxing match. This is better work from Daho. This is what he has to do. Get punches going, push Michael back and keep the punches flowing. It's no use trying to pot shot with counter punches. He has to force Michael back, but he's never been doing that. This is the best work we've seen for quite a few rounds from Daho. I have Michael in front at this stage because he's been the boss in most of the rounds. He's been dictating the action and dictating the pace.
Sort of thing that was certainly, I would thought, influenced the American judges here, all three of them. A little bit of warning there to Michael to watch the head. They're bumping and boring a little bit in there at the moment.
Michael's complete style is based on going forward and throwing punches, turning the hip and throwing punches as he goes forward. If Daho can push him back, he'll take away half his artillery.
Yeah, as you were saying earlier, Jim, it's easier said than done that. He's such a strong man, isn't he?
Yeah, but I don't see Daho. But when Daho lets go with a burst of punches, he stops Michael in his tracks. If he can stop him in his tracks, surely he can step in that half step and push him back the way. I know it's easier said than done, but we're talking about world champions and nearly world champions, so, and that's what it's all about, just having that little bit extra.
Oh, I agree with that. It's sorting out the artists and the artisans. But it really has become a bit of a grueling war now, no question that. And he's still bloodied around the nose with half a minute to go there, Daho. But that seemed to be the only noticeable mark, bit of swelling around the eyes. Good body punches from Michael there. I don't know whether he fights with his mouth open regularly, Daho, but he seems to be a bit more than we have seen him in the past, Jim, I would have thought.
Yeah, well,
maybe the breathing trouble with the nose there, eh?
That's possible, the nose bleeding. Maybe has to breathe through his mouth. But Michael still looks stronger, doesn't he?
Keeps raising his hand at the end of the round, Michael, as if to say, I'm satisfied with that, but gets a few obvious cheers from the crowd for that.
Box this kid, you can win this, right? But you've got to pull, bang, 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 pull and work at it.
Got a local talk there from manager Jack Trickett, as I say, has had a lot of success with Daho. He's really motivated this guy.
Don't think about the next one. Get out and win this one. Go. Come on. You've got to go out and really do it. Come on, promise you'll pull yourself together.
You can sense from the chat in that corner that we can just about hear Jim that they're a bit concerned. They want him to go out and win a round or two now, Daho.
Well, Daho needs a big round. He's not had a big round since the first. See, here we are again. We'll see what happens in this little clip.
Let's go round. Let's get
well, a nice little burst from
Second
Daho.
down.
See, he keeps the punches going, stop Michael on his tracks. This is what he has to do. But Daho needs a big round.
Into the 9th. Scheduled again, as I said, for 12 rounds. And Barry Michael, he can really fight all night. He's had 6 15-round fights. That's our total before this one of 472 pro rounds. And altogether, 21 fights involving a title of some sort. Commonwealth, Australian and World. gladiators here in this. In particular, Michael, he seems to revel in it, doesn't he, Jim? He's got that confident look about him when he's in there.
Yeah, well, he's so used to this. I'd imagine every one of his fights are like this. When the referee broke them, he just took a big deep breath through his mouth and then put his head down and back into it again. He's quite happy doing this. If the fight carries on like this till the 12th round, he'll be quite happy. He'll be quite happy to go home with his title. Daho is the man who has to change what's going on.
Well, yeah, as you say, going home. In fact, he's going to hang around in Britain for quite a while if he can, Barry Michael. And as I said, he'd love to be able to lure Barry McGuigan to come up into this weight and challenge him for the World Championship. So a minute to go then in the 9th. Oh, so hard fight this close. So as close as Jim White and I are at the ringside, you could really feel those punches coming in, I tell you. Half a minute. And again, it's Michael really working those shots to the body like that. And Daho trying to give it to him back as well. So they're really showing the signs of wear and tear as we come up for the bell in this round. And the big smile yet again from Barry Michael. And there's some family supporters, obviously, of Najib Daho. The only one that we know that Barry Michael's got here is his wife and dad. There you are. She's giving him all the advice. And don't we all know that the ladies are good at that. Surprisingly few marks there, Jim, really, on Barry Michael. In his arms, elbows, heads, he's taking it all.
Yeah, well, he's taken most of it on his head, probably. And he's been forcing the pace all the way through, and obviously he doesn't bruise as easily as the rest of us, but he is quite unmarked when you think of the action he's been through.
Not bad for an old Bondi Beach boy. He's turned into a good fighter. So things could be getting a bit desperate now, surely, for Daho. At 27, he's winning with a few years with Michael, but just that bit of experience has shown.
Round 10.
Into round 10. Referee doing a good job here, and his shirt sleeves are really covered with sweat and a bit of Daho blood as well, as he continually parts them. I don't know what's going through Daho's mind, Jim, now. A little bit of desperation in there. I don't think he's kidding himself that he's ahead, surely.
No, I can't see any way he can be ahead. He has always been the man who has been under the pressure. Even when he's landing his own punches, he's firing back under pressure. He's never dictating the action. And that's the reason I have Michael in front. He's always been dictating, he's always been the boss, and keeping Daho under pressure, not giving him a minute's breathing space.
Almost a tap on the head like the wrestlers do when they want to let go of the hold. Release the hold there by Daho. That's a good round for Michael.
Michael knows how to force himself forward. This is what he's good at. Just he sets a pace and keeps it going. Even when he's tired, it's like a mind over matter thing with him. He just drives himself on. And Daho hasn't been able to do that.
Minute to go in the 10th. a chance starting up. They're certainly giving this lad all the encouragement in the world, and I think he's going to need it. Because there's one thing we knew about Barry Michael. He had extraordinary staying power. A little bit low, that one, but since early in the contest, that low punch, we haven't had much trouble that way. Certainly a great deal of atmosphere generated here at the Stage 1 arena in Manchester. And there would be even more if the crowds thought that Daho was going to win this fight.
You've got to fucking
Now, you, listen, let me tell you, listen, 2 rounds, right? And you've got to go and knock him over. Come on, listen. When you walk over this time, it's not as if you can't hit him, you can hit him. You understand? Are you listening? Well, listen, you walk over.
And there it is. Let's have another look at that action.
You let the best right hand you have ever thrown.
Again, Michael coming forward, the right hand underneath there. No, that wasn't really the low punch part, I don't think. And he's ducking and diving quite understandably there, Daho, to try and get out of trouble, but in fact ran into it. Well, the old man seems quite pleased with the boys' goings on there, doesn't he?
Second down.
In the corner.
Round 11.
Round 11. I must say, I did fancy this fight to go to full distance, and they're so gutsy, and they deserve to, don't they? Not a question of lacking punching power, is that they absorb them so well.
I've got to say, if it was a 15-rounder, I think around about now, Daho is beginning to lose heart and maybe start getting out. But being it's just a 12-rounder, only 2 rounds to go, he'll probably grit his teeth and force himself on. But he's having a real tough time. He's badly in need of a bit of success. He hasn't really had any today. He's never been able to put a dent in Michael at any time. He's been under constant pressure from the 2nd round onwards. And he needs a knockout to win the fight as far as I'm concerned.
He's a great come-from-behind fighter, Barry Michael. He's shown that in nearly all of his Australian and Asian and Commonwealth Championship fights. He sometimes lets the other fella get off a bit lively, but he comes in at the finish. Oh, and a good right hand, and the crowd knew it, and Michael certainly knew it, but he'll come straight back in. It's incredible. Doesn't back off at all.
That's exactly what I mean, Reg. That's as good a right hand that Daho can manage at this stage in a hard fight, and it didn't even put a dent in Michael. He takes the punch, comes right on and lands his own punches. So I really don't know what Daho's going to be able to do. Go the distance and lose honourably in points, I think, is the best he can hope for.
Well, time to go, as they say, Jim. In this game, one punch can change it all, can't it? Change the old mathematics.
Yeah, but that was a good shot from Daho, and it was bang on target, and it didn't even shake Michael in the least. So
no,
what else is he going to do?
No, exactly. And the fact that he hasn't never been on the canvas in his life, you're saying it'll take something exceptional now to do it. Well, we talk about some of the old-timers that some of us read about with perpetual motion, but that's what Barry Michael's shown us this afternoon.
It's always nice.
It looks as though he was just about to go down there, Jim.
Yep, his legs gave a little twist there.
Oh, there's the countdown clock. He's running out of time in this round, although the bell would not interrupt the count if he did go down. The crowd cheering Daho on, stay in there and survive in this round at least. And must have seemed to a long walk back to that corner. He really did look battle-weary there. And, referee battle again, collecting those scorecards.
Big breath, come on.
Jim Watt and I obviously now make Barry Michael, well, comfortably ahead anyway. So there's this punch coming in. Have a look at this, Jim.
Yeah, it was a good shot. You see his legs. He did well to keep himself upright. Yeah, there he goes now. Grabs a hold of Michael, gets back onto his feet. But I think the best Daho can hope for. Here we go again. Yep, see, down he goes up again. Did well to regain his feet there.
Yeah, he did well. There was a lot of heart there, Daho, to pull himself back up from that one.
Well, it's been a really gritty performance from Daho. All the way, things have been going against him. The tide has been going against him from very early in the fight. But he stuck to his task. Full credit to him. So I hope he manages to survive this round. At least go the distance. I can't see him winning.
So then, the 12th and final round of this International Boxing Federation World Championship at the 9-stone 4 limit, super featherweight. And this third defence by Barry Michael. And it looks as though he's cut in the last round, I think, or he's cut over the right eye of the champion, right at the start of that round. Oh, and he almost caught the referee with that, and Daho giving it all he's got in the last, and this really would be bad luck for Michael if the referee has to call a doctor in. And remember, it happened right at the start of the round. Oh, and a little bit of a wobble there. He's raised a bit of anger again in Michael's fighting, I tell you.
See, when he needs it, Michael still has the strength to raise the pace yet again. He's in a little bit of trouble with a cut eye. Daho sees himself back into the fight, but Michael just raises the pace and knocks him back out of it again.
2 minutes to go. And it looks quite a nasty cut, Jim.
There's no way a referee would stop a contest, but I think well, virtually the eye would have to be hanging out. He's not a bleeder, there's blood cut. It looks like quite a long cut, but he doesn't seem to be a bleeder. There's not too much blood coming out of the cut. And he's dictating the action. There's no way the referee would even dream of stopping this one.
Oh, what an exciting finish. I tell you, there are a couple of guys who wouldn't mind shaking their hands afterwards and saying, hey, this is real gladiatorial stuff there. And Daho's once white trunks have almost turned crimson now. Minute to go. And I tell you, Michael will be counting the seconds now. But as Jim Watt rightly says, the referee allowing this to go on, and he's just quickly checking again. I saw there as he looked at Michael.
Daho looks totally exhausted here. Looks as though one good shot in the chin would finish it for Daho now. He looks totally exhausted. He's doing well to force himself on here.
Half a minute. Oh, what a battle. What a battle. There it is now, too late for a knockout because the bell would interrupt the count. Maybe a slight delay in waiting for the verdict anyway while they collect the papers, and what a great fight. And they're tightly hug each other at the finish like that with mutual respect, I hope. And my heart goes out to both of them. Really was a great battle, Jim.
All the way through, there was never a break from the action. Unfortunately for Daho, in my book, Michael always was the boss, always was that little bit stronger, always forcing the pace, keeping Daho under pressure. Full credit to Daho, he put up a tremendous performance, but I can't see him with any hope at all of getting a verdict here today. Michael's still the champion as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Daho's manager, Jack Trickett, there, looking pleased with himself, but I think he's pleased that it went the full distance, and as the co-promoter, it was a great fight for the customers and indeed the ITV viewers. Let's have a look at this replay, Jim. Now, this is where, just as you were saying, just staggering a bit there now, Daho, wasn't he?
He looks totally exhausted. He took a good punch in the chin, but he managed to keep him upright.
And I suspect all three judges have given it okay now to Michael. Nice to see that, isn't it? That's a little bit sort of what I will defend the old fight game about. These fellas, look at this chat that's going on. I said he motivates people, Michael. Now he's trying to motivate the challenger and what he would consider the loser. All looks a bit calm and confident in the ring. Michael thanking the referee for his contribution, which was quite considerable, because when you're fighting away from home, you never know. The referee might say, I fancy stopping this fight, the man's cut. But they've tended that well in the corner there. They've patched that up temporarily okay there. And there's Michael talking with manager Frank Warren. So there's the referee just checking with the master of ceremonies then the scoring of the three judges. It's getting a bit laborious, isn't it? A few sweaty palms around here at the moment, I think, waiting for this. So there he is now at long last.
Gentlemen, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Judge Whitesell scores it. Michael 116, Daho 112. Judge DeVito scores it. Michael 118, Daho 110. Judge Pasquale scores it. Michael 116, Daho 112. Michael!
Well, there it is, a clear-cut verdict there, and quite good scoring, 116 to 112 on two cards, and 118 to 110 on the other. So congratulations all round then, and I tell you, now you can hear the chat of Barry Michael.
Barry, that was a rough old scrap in there, wasn't it?
It certainly was. He proved to be a very tough, difficult opponent. He proved a dead-set worthy contender. He took me right down the stretch. I thought I was going to wear him out, but he hung in there. I hurt him with a lot of body shots, but he hung in there.
And in the last but one round, I think we're going to see that in a moment, you almost had him down. You must have thought he was gone then.
Quite a few times I thought he was gone, but I must give him credit. He's got an enormous heart, and he was in perfect condition for this fight. Look, I'd like to say, Barry McGuigan, I hope you're watching this, mate, because it should be Barry McGuigan versus Barry Michael.
Let's have a look at this, Barry. This is in the 11th round, look, when he almost went.
Yep.
He's somehow managed to hang on.
He's very cagey. It's all that experience, all those fights. I couldn't catch him cleanly until about the 10th round. It's very hard to catch him clean. He's a worthy challenger.
You're looking forward to Barry McGuigan, are you?
I know Barry's watching this fight. Barry, you're going to make a comeback. We realise that. Barry McGuigan versus Barry Michael. I've had 59 fights. I've never taken a count. Can you say the same, Barry McGuigan? I know you're a great fighter. I admire him a hell of a lot. But I think that if he's looking for another world title, which he should be, I'm the IBF Super Featherweight champion. I'm a 31-year-old man. Barry, sure you're not afraid of me. Now, come on, mate, let's get it on.
Well, I think the message is loud and clear. Congratulations, Barry.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Najib Daho for giving me the opportunity to get revenge for that fight we had in Wales in 1979, and he gave me a very difficult night tonight.
You got your revenge.
I got my revenge, and that proved a beautiful warm-up for Barry McGuigan. Thank you.
Najib, if you'd like to just come over for a moment.
Yeah.
How did you manage to hold in there for 12 rounds?
Well,
because you were covered in blood from about the 3rd round.
Yeah, I've been bleeding. I've got a bit cut on my nose before the fight, and he was bleeding all the way through. But he came out with true champion. You know, I'm really sorry, all the fans. You know, I've done more than my best, but he's a better man than I am.
You had terrific support here, didn't you?
Yes, you know, thanks to everybody to be here. I'm really sorry that I've done more than my best.
Well, we admire your courage, Najib. Thank you very much indeed. Now, back to Dickie Davis.
Thank you.